They're kids that this is a preventable disease. And these are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted. And we have to recognize we are doing this to our children.
I don't even know where to start. I really don't even know where to begin. So much to unpack. Let's start here. Okay, I am not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm just somebody's mama and someone who's been advocating for the autism community, a community that I care deeply about for 25 years. And I don't know everything, but I do know this. Autism is not a disease. It is a disorder, a developmental disorder. And it is important to get that right if you are the Secretary of Health and Human Services. So that off the top really triggered me. And then came the list of nevers. Now, if you know me, you know, and I've talked about it a lot, when our son was diagnosed in 2000 at 3 years old, we called it the never day. Why? Because this developmental pediatrician rolled out a laundry list of nevers that RJ would never do, never be, never have, never achieve. And we call it the never day. And she said he would never mainstream in school, have friends, have meaningful employment, drive, live on his own, never say I love you, never play team sports. I mean, this lady had a long list of things that she said he would never do. And so when the Secretary of Health and Human Services just ran off another never list, it triggered me in ways I can't even describe. And now 24 years later, RJ's 27 now, and he has actually checked off and shattered most of those nevers off of that list. So when I hear someone like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. describe our children as family destroyers, I felt the weight of every parent who's ever had to fight 3 times, 4 times as hard just to prove their child's worth. And it just plays into every stereotype and stigma that every person with autism has ever had to fight to overcome, and as an advocate, I've had to fight against as well, and a mom. Because what he's peddling here is not just ignorance, it is institutionalized hopelessness. Let me say that again. It is institutionalized hopelessness. From the very office that's supposed to protect public health, we're getting fear and shame and blame and misinformation. This is not okay. Autism didn't break my family. It made us braver. It made us closer. It made us more compassionate. If anything, I think my son didn't rob me of having a normal child. He gave me a new lens of what it means to love unconditionally. A new lens on that. Now, of course, there are different amounts of support that people on the autism spectrum are going to need with different tasks in life. And, you know, they're going to have different levels of needs. But these are things that they can overcome. And any official that's tasked with leading this nation's health policies, they should be celebrating the resilience of families that have overcome things, not dismissing them and giving us another never day. Ironically, most of the challenges facing autism families revolves around access to diagnosis and treatment and support, especially in Black and brown communities who are diagnosed way later than white communities, sometimes 2 to 5 years later, and they miss these crucial windows of intervention. So we deserve better. We deserve to be talking about those things. Our children deserve better. Our families living with autism don't need pity and blame. We need policies. We need leaders who see our kids not as some kind of Debbie Downer doomsday cautionary tales, but as citizens with potential and value and purpose and voices that matter, even those who are nonverbal. So here's my call to action for Secretary Kennedy. If you're going to speak for us, learn from us. walk into a classroom or a nonprofit or a therapy center or a family's living room and or talk to autistic adults who are thriving, contributing, and redefining what it means to live fully in a world that doesn't accept them. And listen before you speak, because your words carry weight. And right now, they're just crushing the very people you've been entrusted to protect. Now, I know this administration doesn't really think highly of words and how they impact people, but this is very important. And to every parent, to every educator, to every advocate, every self-advocate listening to this, and especially families who are just getting the diagnosis today, please do not let one man's ignorance drown out the truth that we live every single day. And don't ever let anybody define the possibilities for your child. Autism is not a family-destroying tragedy. The negative way that people speak on it, that's the tragedy. So, to recap, for my son, pays his taxes, check. Uses the toilet on his own, check. Poems, yeah, he's written some poems to me. Yeah. Plays baseball, no. But he does have 2 World Series rings from working with baseball players on his 10th season at the Dodgers, so that should count. That's his job that you said that they'll never get. Dating, well, okay, we're working on that. Don't rush him. Look, having autism, having a loved one with autism is not easy. It's not easy, and it can be very, very hard. But different families have different ways of overcoming it. And what we're not doing is sitting here and labeling and limiting the potential of our children. You know, I always say I would never change RJ for the world, but I will always try to change the world for RJ. And what we're not going to do is talk down on autism families and give them no hope. So we got to do better, because this is some bullshit that I just heard. You know, I was dying to cuss this whole time. That's the best I could do. Could bleep that, whatever. It's not okay.